What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a full look at this 2023 Toyota Camry. This particular car is an SE and it is about $30,200. So let's find the hood latch. Underneath the hood, this is going to have a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder. It makes 203 horsepower with 184 pound-feet of torque. Now it's paired to the front-wheel drive system and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Pretty sporty looking sedan, especially finished off in this red color. So let's go ahead and start taking a look at the front end design. Hasn't really changed much, quite honestly, in like 10 years. So Toyota certainly could update it a little bit, but we do get a pretty nice set of headlights. I like this plastic trim underneath it. It looks pretty sporty. And then the red bodywork kind of cuts around. This is all just fake mesh, however, it looks cool, I guess, for the style they're going for. And then you have the Toyota badge right in the center with more of this body color surrounding it. And then it cuts to a pretty aggressive grille. I like how the splitter kind of comes up front, has a pretty cool design with more of the mesh. So it still looks pretty good. You know, you got the sharp lines all on the hood. And it comes together pretty well. It still looks like a modern car. And then as we get our way to the side profile, you can see the two-tone wheels. I like the machine silver as well as this gloss black, and they're 18-inch diameter wheels. We have a pretty sharp line going around these front fenders, and then a really sharp line cutting through the entire side profile. We also get body color mirrors, and then the body color door handles, and then silver trim all around the windows with black for the B-pillar. Overall side profile is kind of what you would expect. This is basically a mid-sized sedan, pretty typical in sizing. It looks pretty good, you know, has some pretty sharp lines. I especially like this one right here. Kind of just cuts through this rear section of the bodywork. And then it has pretty wide rear fenders to give it a little bit more sporty and aggressive vibe. In back, you can see the taillights. They got these little arrow fins on it, and you can see the red on the housing. And then this trim piece actually kind of blends into the design within the taillight. Kind of a cool look. And then up top, that line on the side even cuts into the trunk where we got a nice lip spoiler mounted on there. We got your Toyota badge as well as Camry written out, and then the SE logo is on the far right side, and then more clean lines all throughout the rear. Down below, we get dual exhaust on the far side with the chrome tips and a pretty sweet looking diffuser. So not too bad for being an old design. I'm sure very shortly we're probably gonna see a brand new Camry. But if we go ahead and take a look at the back seats now, you can see them folded down nice and flat, so you really do get quite a lot of cargo area. And then if we lift these seats back into the normal position, you can see how we can seat 3 people comfortably. The center can even be pulled down, so we got a nice armrest and cup holders. And then hopping inside, pretty roomy actually. Now I'm 5'11", plenty of knee room and leg room sitting back here. I mean, really can't complain. Not many sedans like this are actually comfortable, but this one would not be a bad place to be. Now there's no amenities, no air vents or anything. You just get a little bit of storage, then a little bit more storage, and then we have 2 USBs down below. So kind of basic back here, but at least it is comfortable and roomy. And then if we go back to the trunk, this is a practical car, so we got plenty of trunk space. I think the only way to open it is just by pressing the button. But as you can see, pretty large area in here. And I like the all-weather floor mat, but super practical car for real. Like, you got a lot of space all in this car. And then moving to the driver's seat now, all finished in black. I like the interior color combo, it's kind of nice looking. And then we have all the plastic black for the door panel and controls. We do have power controls on the seats. Now this isn't real leather, this is their synthetic Softex, but we get a pretty cool trim design in the center with all these stripes. Kind of feels like a fabric material. Not too bad looking. And then hopping inside, this one does have turnkey, which is kind of surprising. I was expecting it to be push button start, but we'll do that and turn the ignition on. Everything comes to life in the new Camry. And then taking a look at these screens, again, nothing too fancy. You know, Toyota hasn't really updated the car much, but we get a small LCD screen in the center that you can control using these control panels. And just scrolling down, you can see a lot of trip information, eco indicator, speed readout, things like that, kind of your basics. Some safety information and messages, and then a settings menu for all of those safety settings. So pretty basic. You can see all of your different controls, cruise control settings, We do have the forward collision, the departure warning, as well as the distance pacing. Turn signal stock, of course, on the left with your headlights, wiper blades on the right, and then a nice set of paddle shifters. So not too bad in here. You have some controls on the left side, trunk button, as well as your gas cap, auto high beams, and traction control. More of this vinyl and stitching, and then some nice black around the dash. This is kind of a cool material. It's kind of got like a striping in it, some piano black and this gray color. And then your typical Toyota screen. Nothing too crazy fancy. You have some shortcuts on the left, and you can hit a few more icons. Not really any apps or anything loaded onto this particular spec, no map or anything, but of course you can option it out for that. So pretty basic. You know, I'm sure Toyota's around the corner from an all-new Camry, but nonetheless, this is a familiar car, obviously bulletproof, reliable. We have climate controls that come up. We have dual zone temperature, your fan speed and everything, as well as the different zones. And then down below, I like how you have some hidden storage. You could fit like 2 phones in here probably. Then you can even use this as storage. We have some auxiliaries down here, these little doors that open up. And then your shift boot with manual shift control down here. Cup holders, 3 drive modes as well, eco, normal, and sport. And it just shows you a little graphic up here to kind of let you know what you're in, which is a cool little touch. And then moving to the center, more of this vinyl material for the armrest, and then a really big center storage area. Then we can also pop that open, and as you would expect, pretty large in here, but not bad. You know, it's comfortable, it's roomy feeling in here. We get a sunglass holder. I mean, this car is extremely just usable and practical. So now let's go ahead and drive the Camry and see what it's all about. All right, so we are setting off now in the 2023 Toyota Camry. So it'll be interesting to test out the 8-speed, the 4-cylinder, and of course front-wheel drive. So let's get up to some speed. Right now we are in the eco mode, so the most conservative way to drive this car. Give it a little bit of gas. Honestly, pretty peppy for what it is. Obviously, it's no fast car or anything like that, but you know, it gets up to 40 without even thinking. Transmission, pretty smooth for just normal slow speed driving. And I will say the car feels pretty solid. It feels really well insulated. Suspension feels nice and tight, but nice and soft at the same time. So it feels like a very well put together car. Obviously, Toyotas are pretty bulletproof, reliable, and this definitely feels like it's a very solid machine, just put together really, really nicely. Have a pretty good view around, large windshield, so you have really good visibility. All the mirrors do a pretty good job. And looking over your left and right shoulder, I wish those back headrests moved down a little bit. You can't move them, obviously, but nonetheless, it's pretty good overall. Let's go into sport mode. Now, manual mode doesn't seem to actually do anything. It doesn't really shift. It just allows the transmission to not upshift any farther. So right there, it didn't go into 5th gear. So if you're kind of higher in the RPM, it will shift like you're taking manual shift control with a manual transmission of some sorts. But it's more of just, if I have this in 5th gear, it just won't go any past 5th gear. So not really a way you would ever actually shift this car. I don't think anybody's really gonna use that. However, in the sport mode, at least if you leave in automatic mode, it's a little bit more aggressive with throttle response as well as the gear changing. So it's at least nice to have that. Maybe if you're in the mountains or something to where you need the power to be a little bit more aggressive, you can at least put into sport mode, keep it in automatic, let it do its thing. But yeah, overall normal driving, it's definitely comfortable and nice to be in. The seats are really comfortable and padded. Things you touch are pretty nice. You know, the leather on the steering wheel feels pretty good. There is a lot of plastic. I mean, everything is literally plastic in here, so there's nothing luxurious about it or like above and beyond special. $30,000 though, you know, pretty cheap for a nice or normal car. So it's kind of what you would expect as far as interior build quality and things like that. But it's solid. I mean, it's definitely a durable car, durable interior as you would expect from Toyota. And just the overall comfort aspect, just getting my bearings driving this around, it certainly feels like it's pretty comfortable and nicely put together.